Alrighty, guys. It is 3:30. It is Friday, August 7th. Time to wrap it up for today. And okay, we're getting a little bit strength into the close of the day. I like that. That's awesome. So we had a pretty sloppy afternoon. And we ran up here at the London close. We ran up here to the highest initial balance high. We were almost looking like we were taking this higher, and they just kind of backed it off to the mean, and then sloppy, not sideways action. 2 o'clock hour didn't do much. A little bit of a directional change, as you can tell. Usually happens in this time frame. Around 2 o'clock, 1:30 to 2:30, you get a directional change, and if we got a directional change, a slow one, but nonetheless, they ran it down here, tested that rotational low, and then look at that snapback rally. That was pretty violent. So if you were sitting here getting sloppy, thinking like, yeah, taking out the lows, hopping on the short side on the pullback, you got a nasty surprise. They ran you over and then some. I did not trade this. I was watching it, and I was I was actually watching it at the time and see it like, okay, what's happening? Something is happening on the chart, and it's like, okay, should I get No, no. And then this big bar happened, and when this big bar happened, that's when you really catches your eyes. Like, okay, this is something's going on here. And then they just took it up to the high. I did not, at that point, the short kind of disappeared, but I wasn't ready to hop on the long side either. So I just kind of sat on the side. And late in the day on a Friday, you don't want to be too aggressive. I know sometimes you need to just trade what you see and not be backing off. But plenty of times I've been too aggressive late in the day on a Friday, getting caught, getting myself in trouble, and then just ruining the last part of the day. So unless I can make it, and I tried it pretty well this morning, and I just got out with a pretty good. Well, I got out of a shitty trade, put it that way, and I basically ended up uh, backing off at that point. And what I'm talking about is really this move here in the morning when they started heading lower, and you can see the snapback, and as it head up towards the high of that initial balance, I get short, try to repair it once, repair it twice, and it almost knocked me out of that trade before they backed off, and I scratched that trade, got 750 out of it. But that was a gnarly trade. After that happened, I figured like, okay, it's one of those days. So nothing else really caught my. This move down here was a little bit too fast. Buying the mean, definitely an opportunity, but I wasn't engaging it at that point. Moves like this, you kind of had to give it a little bit of room to see what's going on with it, especially when you had an employment situation. It was kind of weak. So market has been pretty whippy back and forth. So it doesn't do much for a long time, and then it moves pretty hard, pretty quick, and then it doesn't do much. So it's difficult trade when it's like that. And if you're trying to go with type of trading, hop on a trend, you will be as run over and knocked out every single time. So a day like this is a range-bound trading day. So you're looking at fading edges back to the mean. That's the default trading methodology when you're looking at the day like this. If the day would have been something different and it would have been trending, yeah, I would have been more inclined to hop on the trend. But going from the low to the high, like super quick, it's difficult to hop on, wrap your head around and hop on. Now, if you were long, time to get long towards the lower end of the range or vice versa, well, yeah, you have trade location and everything going for you. So at that point, that would be a good thing to do. Nasdaq also, I took one trade this morning, got shaken out of that trade as well, and I kind of didn't do much. Also pretty whippy on the way down here. Another retest on the mean, and you can see how the mean works well. It just on the Nasdaq, you'd run it down here to the mean, bounce off midpoint and the mean, bounced off. Another attempt right here to that mean, and then hard retracement. That was violent. Nasdaq would have been easier to get on because it wasn't as whippy, and they took it from the mean all the way up here to that high pretty darn quick. So I mean, even if you just hopped on the long side here, you would have probably been safe at least maybe get knocked out on a break-even trade, but it wouldn't have been hard running against you. But again, I didn't do much with it. I was kind of watching it. So there you go. 750 on that first trade, shakeout trade on the Nasdaq. That's all I have to show for it. But it's a range-bound trading day still. Nasdaq is a little bit to the upside though. The Nasdaq has made it's grind a little bit higher, but as you can see, it's not moving directionally a whole lot in the bigger picture. You can see they're just pretty much staying in this range, Nasdaq. So I still range-bound, just a little bit on the upside. Software stocks are doing pretty good today. Palantir, ServiceNow, and those guys are doing pretty good. On the ES side of things, we're still in the move out of the middle to the upside. And unless they make a new high before the close, I think we are in stage 3. So they haven't made a new low. If you look at the ES, blow that out. It's a good example. The last few days, you got a great example for how a move out of the middle works. So here you go. So you're looking at the low from yesterday was down here at the 77.25. Today's trading, we were pretty much holding in the range. So on the 5th, we ran up here and took out the highs, extended, cut off the buying at 78.20. We started backing off. Yesterday's trading, we ran all the way down here to 77.20, stalled. Overnight didn't take it lower. And now the day session for today is just pretty much inside that range. So we're going to be entering stage 3 going into Monday's trading. So this is an excellent example of how the profile builds. Stage 1, move out of the middle. Stage 1, looking for a spot to cut off the buying. You do not fade that first move. Don't step in front of it. Second move, retracement, finding a spot to cut off the selling. Third stage, just starting to build value. And now we'll see. Now from Monday's trading, most likely, unless for some reason something happens and they start blowing out these areas, the high here at 78.20 or the low here at 77.20. If they start in this range, probably going to start off just fading the edges fairly equally. So that's pretty good example. Excellent example of a move out of the middle. Nasdaq, not so much. They're pretty much in that range I showed you. So they have just range bound still. And we're going to start probably most likely trading that as a range. On the bond side of things, you actually get a little bit of retracement now, a little bit stronger than I thought. So bond market started with this big reaction on the employment situation. And then they have been selling off all the way back into that 2 o'clock hour. So at that 2 o'clock hour, finally got a little trend change and we started heading back out to the midpoint. Okay, so price is up a little bit. Bonds yields down a little bit. That's good. We'll see if they can hold on to that. So we'll see what it looks like. You're going into the closing, going into Sunday or Monday morning. But right now, it looks to me like we're starting off range bound going into Monday's trading. On the cryptos, I did not take any trades, and I was tempted to, but it's nothing. It's been whippy, pretty whippy on that one. The Bitcoin, it almost caught me on a short trade. I was looking at getting short on this midpoint over here on the cryptos, the Bitcoin futures, but I opted not to, and this is a pretty aggressive trade. It took it one leg higher before it took lower, so that would have been like, okay, maybe back up to the mean actually before it started heading lower. And then they took a little bit higher. So Bitcoin a little bit positive. And it looks maybe there's something brewing, which I'm not aware of. So maybe that we'll get some news over the weekend about that Clarity Act. That would be spectacular, starting off Monday with an agreement to that. But we'll see. I guess the Senate's going to stick around for a few more days, and we'll see if they can get something done. All right, back to the ES and the NASDAQ, and right now we are pretty much twisting in the wind. So I'm going to start off range bound going into the Monday, into the overnight Sunday, and then we'll see how it develops from there. So, alrighty, guys, we'll wrap it there. Yeah, hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to go out and chase some tuna and see what it looks like on Monday. Alrighty, guys, we'll see you back on Monday. Later.